Get ready. Hold tight. It's
Hold on to your hats, boys.
Libos.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week.
A little bit old for you, but
With that deep into Danny Roll, please don't click that.
Been truly horrific having the season away from home.
I want goals.
Anyone would think that we rehearse this, and I guarantee that we haven't.
How poor do we have to be before it's happening? How much blood from this stone do we have to get?
For Wednesday Week! Hello, good evening, and welcome. Now, Stevie realises pissed about with the graphics and chucks them all over the screen. I'll carry on with the intro. We're also having internet issues with our fourth member tonight in Simon, so it's a lot happening tonight, boys and girls. There's a lot kicking off. There's a lot to make sense of. Joining me right now is Ash and Stevie, and hopefully we might get Simon later on. Award-winning. It's this type of stuff you just can't even buy, like, you know what I mean? So it's just us three to start with, boys. Maximum points at home and on the road. First, we've got to get through Hull City, a game that, I don't know, as a potential banana skin, they couldn't keep on the current trajectory that they were on. I did take a look at the form table, and they've not won in 6, minimum. You know what I mean? And we're talking loss, LLL, Nathaniel Mendez, Elang. You know what I mean? There's a lot happening. There's a lot of losses going on, and it ended up costing Tim Volter his job by the end of the game. So, Stevie, I'm going to go into the... also, again, I've done it again. I always seem to forget this bit. Also, we've got the comments live, so I want you guys out there to get involved, especially with us not having a fourth fourth man, slash lady. Sorry, Bernadette. You can get involved, and we'll refer to you guys and talk about things thus forth. As you can tell, there's a lot of shambles going on. We've all been at work on Monday, and not one of us is ready. It's a right bloody mess. So let's just try and muddle through, shall we? So let's get to Hull City, Stevie. Going into this game, what did you think? Had a potential to go wrong?
No, I was pretty confident, to be fair. I thought it was an ideal opportunity for us to go out there and make a bit of a statement, to be honest with you. I'm going to pause for introduction purposes because the old man's arrived. Do you want to? I was
really hoping to just try and muddle through and not make reference to it, so thanks for stopping, Stevie. Carry on. Simon's here. Tell us about bloody Hull City, for fuck's sake.
I was trying to sneak in with nobody noticing.
Sorry. Yeah, no. I was confident. I felt it was an ideal opportunity in terms of opposition for us to go back and react from the Cardiff game and get something, in terms of getting points on the board. There's that cluster of teams in the middle of the league, isn't there, at the moment? You've got your Leeds as well. You kind of go, they're kind of free hits. Leeds, United, Burnley, Sunderland randomly have become that team where you go, if we come up against teams like that, they're in and around the playoffs at the moment. If we get anything out of those games, we've done well. And then there are the teams down the other end where, let's be right, if we're coming up against a Portsmouth or, dare I say it, an Oxford or Plymouth, teams that are down there at the minute, you'd expect to beat those. And then there's a cluster of teams in the middle of the league where you kind of think we should be sort of getting something out of these games if we're going to progress up that middle league of mid-table sort of teams, if you like. Hull, for me, sitting there, I didn't realise that they were on the run that they were on, if I'm honest with you.
With something like that, though, they were at home. There's a bit of local bite behind it. And did you not feel like you look at a fixture like that and think they can't lose every game, right? Yeah,
absolutely. That it's the Charity FC, isn't it? We've talked about that before. Charity FC, the Hull might be a Yorkshire derby, Hull versus Sheffield Wednesday. They're on an abject run. We're on an abject run. Something had to give, and thankfully on the night it fell our way.
Sorry, my earphones cut out then. I assume you finished speaking. Again, award-winning. Simon, welcome to the party, pal. You all right? How's it going? Listen, we're going to get straight into it. I've done a fancy lineup graphic for this once again. You will notice that this owl looks like Joe Exotic. I've given him a little mullet there, look, and a little trucker cap. Then he's got little tiger stripes as well, so that's nice, isn't it? So Beadle Valentin, Valerie Bernard, Mike Slow Johnson, Shay Charles Bannon, Kasama, Windass, and once again, EK Ugbo gets a run out. Another barren spell for him. Is there any feedback on that lineup? I mean, it is what it is. For Maywo's out, Iorfa's out, kind of best opportunity we've got. That's the best team we could have played, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, that was the one. He's persisting with Ugbo, isn't he? It's got to come some point, hasn't it? It's got to come. And you know what? Even though he hasn't scored, he's trying. He's getting in the positions. He's trying his best. It's just not coming out for him. But I sort of caught the end of what Steve was saying, and I just felt, Charity FC. There's a bit of false rivalry that Hull have created with us, isn't there, ever since the playoff final, and that was going in after the Cardiff game. It was quite an abject performance. It was the proverbial banana skin that could have happened. But then, as Steve again alluded to, I wasn't aware of how bad they were going in their form, and it wasn't the best of games, was it, to watch, really?
It wasn't a classic. Now, Ash, I'll come to you about EK Ugbo. How many chances are you going to get? Like, you know what I mean? Would you? I'd have quite happily played Smith to start this game. I feel like it's got him written all over it. Started on the bench. Yeah. Do we? I know he was injured for the game that we'll get to against Derby County, but come on, man. I've just realised Steve has got the word subs written across his face as well. I keep forgetting that's there.
No, that's on purpose. That's what we want. We want some subs. We've got Stevie's face. Paying for Stevie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I thought he was much improved against Hull. I thought his work rate, his link-up play, I thought he had a good chance that he dragged a bit wide, but I thought he looked lively, and it's just not falling for him, is it? And I think a lot of people have made the comment of it just one off his arse, bounced off.
I think we've said that every week now since the start of October.
Is that, and I think it is. I think it is that. I really do think it is something because. Look, I would assume, most of us would have wanted him to be re-signed if he was available. The chairman's gone out and spent anywhere between 2.5, 3.5, whoever you talk to, million, which is a lot for us, and brought him back in. It's just not started for him. And I don't mind him. I really do. I mean, I know it would be different if we ourselves were going through a bad run and you're persisting with a striker who's not even really hitting the target, is it? Do you know what I mean? He's not even getting those chances for a keeper to pull off a worldie or anything like that. It's just not going for him. But I don't mind starting with him, especially against Hull, because they have been abject. And I listened to Stevie talking to Anne on Hello from the Other Side, and I cheered myself up driving to work at like 5:30 in the morning, listening to that. He was proper down the dumps all. And I know Ant from the Yorkshire Rivals. He's on there quite a lot, podcast. So he's a good lad. But yeah, he wasn't feeling it, was it? And I honestly, I didn't have no question. I didn't think we were going to win, and that's really the thing for me because I'm really negative.
I was going to say you're normally the pragmatic one. I think the word is, and you just thought that was going to be a free hit. We're going to beat them. Let's move on. Even though our form at Hull isn't most bestest, but you're right. That's a fair point. To be fair, Ash, the point about Ugbo is if he's going to get one, he's probably going to get one against Ugbo, right? Against Hull, right? Hull Bowl. Let's go to some internet comments and then let's get into the game smash.
Come on, man, give some bloody warning.
Well, I just thought you'd be looking at them because that's they'll roll it.
Oh, cheers, yeah, thanks. Insightful football speak not needed from Ash. Just push some buttons. Cheers.
Yep, that's the one. All right. That's baby the booth.
Ollie's channel has been on. All right, lads, just tune in. Quick show, my lad, what I'll be doing at work tomorrow. Listening to you guys up the owls. Less of the swearing then, guys.
Yeah.
J Blogs has got a comment on Ugbo. Just needs to put his foot through a few balls. He usually strikes the ball really well. when he first came, he was hitting the post, the bar, then it clicked.
Yeah.
So he's not even done that, has he? Liam Henderson, it's moved. Liam Henderson says Ugbo is very bloody trying at the minute. And I think that's probably a feeling that a lot of Wednesday fans have got.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I kind of agree with you. I must admit, I was like, drop him. Let's just beat Hull. Because if we'd have not beaten Hull, I'd have been kicking off. I'd have been like, why are we still persisting in playing this out of form striker? I'm not saying Ugbo's a bad player and this is too far above his level, but a journeyman is a journeyman for a reason. A person who's had that many clubs, a player that's had that many clubs is for a reason. And it seems like he's got his contracts, he's got his move, and then it's the age-old adage, innit? Well, I've got this over the line. I'm all right for 3 years now. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like Ugbo's that type of guy. I think he is trying, but you know, you do want to question it, and I kind of want to pull on the fact that he might be missing Jan Poveda as well, because when Ugbo was firing, Poveda was the one putting him in for him. And he's not getting that from Masaba, Gassama, or even Windass. So, you know, there's an element of that. Is he not getting the service that he was used to last season? But let's move on. Stevie, the game started against Hull, and virtually straight away, Regan Slater managed to pull out a mega save from James Beadle, who the last 2 games has managed to win man of the match. Were you a bit concerned?
Did Regan Slater save from Beadle, or did Beadle save from Regan Slater?
Sorry, no. Casey Palmer. Is it? Who
Casey Palmer was the first effort, yeah.
That's right. He took that really well.
Let's just go back 10 minutes and start again, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm through the fucking looking glass here right now. You know, I can't move me forward because the Botox has just kicked in. I'm having a bad time.
I can literally feel the steam coming out your ears. What
It's slaughtering me.
Honestly. Because I know we'll go off camera at the end of tonight and you'll be like that.
I've made notes and everything. So Casey Palmer drew a save from James Beadle. Can we talk about that, please?
I was earlier, but that was really early on. That's not what you were alluding to, I don't think, is it?
That was the one across the face of goal, wasn't it? And it was going in. It was going in, but was that before or after the Slater chance where it fell to Slater in the middle? He just sort of...
The Palmer one came first.
Palmer one came first.
Before we get into the Palmer, Slater, Beadle saves and all of that, can I just... I have to mention the booing of Palmer. And I don't want to get on a soapbox about it or anything else, but Casey Palmer got... He got
Casey Palmer. I thought you were meant Liam.
No. Casey Palmer got some hammer the other night, and I was with Si, by the way. We went up together and walked into the stadium just in time for kickoff. I think we missed the first 30 seconds. Power walk through the park to get in there, and this whole agenda against the guy. And again, it's not a soapbox. It's not political. We've done and dusted with all that stuff from the past. But for Christ's sake, lads, let it go. He's just a footballer trying to do a job. Do you know what I mean? And people jumping on his back and sort of giving him some hammer. And there were 2 lads in front of us that spent 90 minutes just deriding the bloke. And I just thought, why? What are we doing? And
Hang on. May I offer a counterpoint that moonwalks right up to the line?
Here we go.
This is a player that was subject to some racial abuse, right? Right. Was the abuse that he was getting from the lads near you of a racial nature?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I would argue.
It was 6.5 foot. I don't know. 18 stone Stevie stood behind him. I'm sure he'd have thought. I
tell you what it is. I just want to put it out there. You were there, I wasn't. I just want to ask some questions. Casey Palmer's a twat. He's an absolute bella, and he's a very good wind-up merchant, and that's why I think that of him, because he'd be one of them like Billy Davis at Nottingham Forest. If he's yours, he's all right, but playing for somebody else, you're like, this. He's a wind-up merchant, right? And he was bending over, showing his ass. Any racial abuse, bin, right?
I get it, but given I just think,
did you feel like it had connotations behind it?
No. I personally, and it's not because I am me, let's get that out there. I personally just felt that it was a legacy boo. I felt it was
Yes.
a legacy negativity.
Yes.
It wasn't because he was a shithouser. It wasn't because he was a wind-up merchant or anything like that. His name was announced, and his first, as he's walked out, his first, you could see him getting booed. His first touch, he was booed. He'd done nothing. He'd done nothing wrong. And there was a lad in front of us, typical. I'm not one to stereotype him, but you know the sort, Stone Island,
shit kicker,
greasy hair, big mopping Shadrach style curtains. You know where I'm going with it.
My son weren't there.
I was going to say, was it Ash's kid?
His distressed Adidas and his too tight jeans and so forth. Spent 90 minutes going, break his legs every time he got the ball, end his career. And I just thought, what are we doing?
Yeah,
I'm glad we had that conversation. You know what I mean? I'm glad I asked those questions. I mean, someone's commented there that Casey's a proper shithouse. He's their pattern, for example. You know what I mean? And but you feel like he'd not done out yet because we just
he's not done anything. It just felt legacy, and I'm not for a second. And I want to be careful. And for all the nonsense that's gone for the first 15 minutes of tonight, and we've gone early on the deep stuff. I don't want to make it about Casey Palmer. I don't want to make it about the past or anything like that. I just made a comment that I thought it was unnecessary to give him as hard of a time as he has, given the history, if you like. The guy's moved on. He's now playing for another team. We need to look at ourselves a little bit and kind of go, look, we haven't covered ourselves in glory, not just with that, but in recent times with certain other situations. And I say this, and I'll stand up every day, and I will say, I think Sheffield Wednesday fans are the best fans in the Championship. We are amongst the best fans in the league. We're good-natured, we're good-hearted. The atmosphere yesterday was absolutely outstanding. All three of us went in different points on the same block, in the same seats, effectively. Top, middle, and bottom we were, but absolutely that atmosphere. Yeah. That atmosphere yesterday was outstanding, and it was endemic of what Sheffield Wednesday fans are. And we took it at Hull. We'll get to the penalty and the chants and the stuff that we put out because we've scored a pen and all of that. We are a great fan base, but sometimes we just need to realise that sometimes people get it wrong. So let's just move on.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. I'm glad we can speak about it in a grown-up manner. Thank you very much, Stevie. And you're right. When it comes to travelling in numbers and when it comes to supporting your own team in numbers, you can get some what I like to call fuckheads. So anyway, let's move on now. 1 day shy of the record, Simon. 1 day shy of the record. Something happened at the MKM Stadium that I didn't know what was going on. Tell us all about it.
Well, we got what apparently is called a penalty.
All right.
So 500. I've done some notes. 558 days ago to that match, we had a penalty, which is what happens is they let you take a shot from a little spot in front of the goal. Nobody tackles you, and you have a go at shooting at that goal with the keeper in it. And we got one.
Sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, we got one.
It'll never catch on.
And you know what? I was really disappointed we got it in one way because I wanted us to get the record. It's like, we were what? We would have equaled it, I think, against Hull, and then we would have got the record if the same had happened at Derby. But we got a penalty, and it's what we needed because we were battering them. Absolutely battering them. And I said to Steve, we need a game where we get 4, 5, or 6. We need that game, and that will kick on. And we just couldn't score. We were just battering them. And I watched it again today, and when you see the penalty on Charles, it's a soft.
It's a dodgy penner.
It's a soft.
I wouldn't. If I'd have been at the ground, I wouldn't have gone. Yes, ref. I wouldn't have shouted for that.
For us, it was difficult because it was at the opposite end to where the fans were. So he went down and he blew it. I mean, Steve and I he put his hands up to high 10 me, and I hugged him because I was like, what the fuck's this? What's going on?
Did you just get bear hugged with your arms in the air?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And it was
that's like going for a fist bump and a handshake at the same time, isn't it?
Standard.
A flump.
I'm a hugger.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. And you're right, Simon. It was a dodgy one, to be fair. and Windass put it away. I think the commentator called him Dean for a good chunk of the night. Can somebody explain to me the Lion King Mustafa?
No. Awful.
So there was Dan. There was a commentator. Obviously, he got Josh and Dean mixed up because they are very similar looking, obviously. And one's been retired 20 odd years, and his son plays for Sheffield Wednesday. And he didn't celebrate though, which the back in the League One when Windass said he weren't going to celebrate, he didn't actually celebrate. But then I saw his Instagram later on, with a photo of his dad in like the locker room of at Hull City, who were taking a cheeky photo then. And the commentator was getting his name mixed up, and obviously, and then he got Masaba. So he got Masaba, which is not that hard to say, and he kept calling him Mustafa. I think it was Mustafa. Yeah. And then people on the interweb did a Lion King thing because I think they thought that the guy out of Lion King, and forgive me, I've not seen it, was called Mustafa, and he's not. He's obviously called Mufasa.
It's called Mufasa.
Yeah,
and that's not what he was saying.
No, he wasn't.
Do you know what that is?
Well, loads of people
sausage roll banter. Sausage roll banter.
Yeah, but a load on it, and it was like, well, it's not even because I had to ask the question in the group chat because I've never seen Lion King, so I was unsure myself.
Oh, mate, it means no worries. Can you pop up Rob Shirley's comment for me there, because I didn't know that myself. That's quite good. Did anybody else spot that the fourth official at Hull was David Webb? He was the ref who gave us our last pen at Peterborough, at home to Peterborough. Lovely stuff. Big fan of Webbo. He's an absolute legend in my book. He's Webbsy, Webberama. Right then. So hang on then. We've had a penner. We're 1-0 up. Ash, then what happened? Where did we go from there? Did we have half time first? I can't remember. It seems ages ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was. I think Palmer had another shot for Hull that went like about 6 foot wide, and then that was it. Really, we were on top. Really, we were. It was pretty easy cruising from then into the second half, and then I think coming out because I don't know about you guys, but even when we've been 1-0 up going into this, I've seen that the first 5-8 minutes of the second half has been a bit of a sticking point for us. I think we have conceded quite a few, and it's like even though Hull were really that bad, and they were, I agree with Si, we did batter them, and it would have been lovely to have gone 4-5, done one of those, but we just couldn't finish. And luckily, obviously, we went on and scored another. But yeah, it was just easy. Well, it wasn't. I didn't feel. No,
I don't think I've ever heard you speak like this, Ash. This is new to me. This is.
Yeah, it is. It was one of those. And I didn't go to Hull. I was working a bit late, so I couldn't get there. But I watched it, and yeah, it was good viewing. It wasn't the best game we've ever played, or the best 45 either half, but it was just great.
I'm watching Simon's face when you've just gone, it's easy, because I'm going to sit somewhere in the middle. Simon's going to disagree with both of us.
So all right then. So at one end of the scale is Ash. Who's in the middle?
Me.
Right, go on then. What do you not feel the same? I'm getting there's a lot of comments, by the way, of people that Ash has not seen the Lion King. By the way, everybody, the internet is angry about it, and the fact that you've got 2 kids and all, Ash, is insanity to some people. You've not seen the Lion King.
Go to Simon first, and I'll mediate.
All right. So Simon's at the other end of the scale. You don't feel it was easy, Simon?
First half was. Don't get me wrong, first half was, and a little disappointed that it took a penalty for us to go 1-0 up. But then second half, I felt it was backs against the wall. I don't know whether you got the statistics for the game, because I think actually they edged it in the first half, to be honest. But
we got you. So this is total chickens in the box. So we need Hull 1, Ash, if we can. We've got.
I thought Hull 2 was second half. So apologies.
No, that's me. My bad.
Again, our preparation for this work has been an issue for us today. So Hull absolutely smashes on possession here, Simon. So is that what you're referencing?
Yeah, I mean, it was. all huff and puff in the second half, and very little to come out of it, apart from they hit the bar, and then I think Beadle made another great save as well to keep.
Yeah, Beadle definitely kept us in it, didn't he?
Without doubt, and it did feel to me. I felt like they were putting a lot of pressure on, and the way we've given away some silly goals over the last few games, I thought, oh, here we go. But I also felt if we could break, then there was every chance because they were committing everybody up there. And in regards to Masaba, he brought him on, and up until the point of the goal, I think Steve will probably agree with me here because we both said it. He was absolutely abject. He was awful when he came on. He was shocking. I mean, he got plaudits over over the socials, but he was just atrocious. And what attacking that we had down the wing with Pole was just stopped because Pole would get the ball, turn, and Masaba stood in front of him. And he's like, hang on, I need to go down this wing. And he stood in front of me. And it just all broke down in the second half. We didn't have the fluidity. We weren't creating. And it was all Hull. And we were awful, I thought, in the second half. But if we could catch them on the break, of which we did, we got the second. And then that was it then. Hull just went, oh.
I think it needs mentioning that Michael Smith took his finish really well. That can be a difficult finish when it's at like waist height, and to put it in, I think he did really well with it. That's a hard one to do. So Ash is like, we done them. Simon's very much could have fallen to shit. Stevie, what about you?
I understand the frustration that people have in terms of that second half performance, but I think is that feedback me? I'm so sorry.
No, I didn't hear anything. I just you
Apologies.
corrected yourself and double did it.
Yeah. I just think we're in a situation where Danny Rule has set up, and he knows he's got a game plan, and he's been very brave in terms of what we're doing. And the stats that we've just had up on the screen will say we've got 67% possession versus 33 or whatever it was. But if you look at, and we've got this one here, if you look at the touches in the box, we've got 12 more touches in the box. You know, we forced more corners. We had significantly more shots on, off, and blocked. We made it count. The opportunities that we had and we took, we made it count. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't stressing. And it was interesting when it was almost like Rule has basically gone, we're going to allow them to have the ball in areas that aren't going to hurt us. And because Hull had a lot more of the ball, I just felt, and I'm not putting words in Simon's mouth or anybody else that was there, I just felt that there was a fear that we'd kind of gone, right, we're not pressing, we're not putting pressure on the ball, we're not doing this. But that was the plan. We allowed them to have the ball in certain areas, which made it feel like we were being outplayed. And I don't necessarily feel that we were being outplayed. I think what we did well. And when we had the ball, we were much more efficient and effective with it, to the point where we've ended up getting obviously the 2 goals and getting the win in the second half, hitting them on the counter. I agree with Simon 100%. I thought Masaba was absolutely abject. I thought he was terrible. He was that typical speedboat, no driver, getting the ball and just running down blind alleys and trying to show a trick. He's like the kid in year 9 that wants to do all the tricks in the world on the school playground. But then it gets to a point where he hasn't got somebody to go and play off, and it just makes him look a little bit ridiculous. And that happened all the time. And I have to say it happened again yesterday in his cameos. Ended up so many times on the floor. A really, really frustrating. I don't want to get after any of our players, but it's been a really, really frustrating week for me watching Masaba. But take nothing away from the fact that I think I agree with Ash. You know, we were comfortable first half against Hull, and once we got that goal, I think Rule had set up and gone, right, I'm now at a point where I know how I'm going to beat this team. They can have the ball there. I'm not going to panic about it. I'm not going to stress. And if we get opportunities to hit them on the break, that's what we're going to go and do.
So Sheffield Wednesday came out 2-0 winners away at Hull City, giving us maximum points on the road, something that's not happened a significant amount this season. And depending on who you listen to on this podcast, it was either a smash and grab or it was a comprehensive performance.
Can I just mention? Sorry, can I just mention one more thing? Marvin
Palmer for his goal, for Smith's goal. Were you going to say that? Palmer in midfield won it, didn't he? Then played it forward, head down, played it off.
No. Two things.
I was that.
And do you know what? He came on for his little cameo, and the bloke ran his socks off. You know, head down, run. Fine, but you can mention that. The pass in the first half from Marvin Johnson across the pitch was absolutely ridiculous. Say what you want about that guy. He's pinged it first time, and it's just gone. What a ball!
I think he's the best deliverer of the ball we have on our roster, if I'm honest, and that's including. I think that's including the Bassmaster General as well. So listen, some people are going to try and sell you things. Come and join us in the next 5 seconds. And we're back. So, 2-0 against Hull, and then we're on the road again at Pride Park, a place that we haven't won at in how many years, Simon?
19. Yes.
So now our barren streak at Pride Park is now old enough to sup. So that's nice, isn't it?
Basically before my son was born and Ash's son.
Was the Premiership still the Premiership at that point?
Yeah, it was the Premiership then.
No, it wasn't. The end with the Premiership years, actually. That's the irony there. I kind of enjoyed that. So listen, we're gonna, we're coming up against a team that we've struggled to play, Simon. Going into that game, Sunday, 3:00, not a bad little time, that, to be fair, is it? Now, I think I was listening to a piece of radio about 2 or 3 weeks ago that sort of said that going away to Derby is the worst because it's literally just a hole in an industrial estate in Derby. It's shite going to Derby. It really is. And because we haven't won there in, nearly a score, you're kind of like, oh God, I've got to go to bloody Derby. What were your thoughts going into it?
It is a dreadful place to go to unless you stop in Ripley and go to the Wetherspoons at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning. In which case, then it's quite an enjoyable trip to Derby because you're a little bit inebriated when you turn up. Not that I did.
My favourite thing was that you sent me a video of the fun bus that you were on, and there was a geezer that looked like,
James Corbyn.
But massive. Like if he had mumps. And then he had like hands like cowardice, like roast chicken stood there clapping away. I went, he's a big fella, and you went, yeah, turned up with a bottle of rosé. What a lad!
Yeah, he said. I said you could have chosen. You could have chosen a nice red, a nice Rioja or something. He went, I only drink rosé, and that was it. Rosé for breakfast. He walked on with a bottle of rosé and the plastic wine glass.
Well, he's not an animal. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely not an animal.
Can't confiscate plastic.
That's it. I mean, if we're from a classy part of Rotherham, so
I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if what you said makes sense. Anyway, thoughts before the game. Go to Derby.
Before the game, oh my God, I've been so many times to Derby, and I've never seen us win at Derby. I've not been lucky enough. I didn't go in 2005. So every time I go, we lose. And it's one of those hunting grounds, isn't it, where we don't hunt. But I had a strange premonition we were going to win this game. Just from how we ground out that result on Tuesday night, I just felt that I would actually go to what Steve alluded to a moment ago, is that I think Danny is far more intelligent than anybody gives him credit for, and we all think he's a bright manager. And I think he's really sussing out the other teams, the teams that we can beat, and putting out a team that can beat them. And I had a feeling we were going to win it. I'd said that, didn't I? I said 2-1. Didn't get 2-0, but I thought we were going to win.
I thought I think you were a bit more optimistic than me. I just thought it was just going to be another draw. Ash, before the game, obviously the lineup came out. I've got a new graphic for you kids. The owl's now wearing horns like a ram, and he's in a sheep pen, so that's nice, isn't it? Beadle, Valentin, Valerie, Iorfa back. Mike Slow, Johnson, Charles, Bannon, Masaba, Gassama, Smith gets a start because Ike Ugbo apparently was injured.
Yeah. The only thing that I was a little bit concerned about, and it wasn't that, because I did say 1-0 we'd win, and I was all right with that, was that obviously Deshaun Bernard was missing through suspension, weren't he?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know Iorf has not played a great deal of football. I know Max Lowe's slipped in there and to left centre back, and he's played really well. So as a partner, and I was just a bit. I really do like Bernard. I think he's been excellent this season. I really do. So it's always going to be a big miss. I think Derby had only won 1 in 8. Paul Warren's under pressure, even more so now. So that was the only concern for me. And then obviously we saw Masaba and Gassama both starting, which we've just said about Masaba, and he just continued that form.
I'm glad you've said that, because for Windass to be on the bench and Masaba to be playing, I think is criminal.
Windass came off for half time, didn't he, against Hull? So he'd had a little knock. So I think that's more precautionary, really. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't too bothered about that. Great to see Shalabar on the bench. He was on the bench against Hull, didn't get minutes, but then we'll talk about it later. He did. But yeah, I think we're getting to a point. I don't know if anyone obviously listening, watching, or you guys are thinking that the starting lineup, and I have criticised Roll for his substitutions sometimes, but I think the starting lineup, he's been getting a lot more right than wrong, if you know what I mean. And I know it's easy to say that when we're in pretty good form as well. It's easy to say that, isn't it? But I think what he's done with rotation, or because of forced changes, either injury or suspensions, I'm quite happy with how he's setting up. So whoever he's picking is a good one.
Is he Ash? Is he sticking with a spine in that team? He doesn't seem to be swapping and changing a number of players. So you tend to find that Valerie, obviously, he had forced change with Dish being, but he seems to be sticking with obviously Charles and Bannon, and the back four is trying to stick with the same as well. Where he was swapping it around a bit, wasn't he, about 4 or 5 matches ago? And then he sort of chops and changes a few of the little striking elements and a few of the attacking elements.
I think it's Beadle, Valerie, Johnson, Charles, and Bannon. I think they're your 5 for me that he's took a real cementing to. I meant with and Bernard, of course, So you have got a core group there, and then it has been interchanged with either or both of Masama, Gassama, Windass, Valentin seems to be in and out, doesn't he? As well.
And if you keep a defensive structure like that, or get used to playing with each other, then you are good. It's a good core to start with, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lineup Only Chat. So, listen, we've had a few comments in agreeing with you.
The guy who doesn't know what first half happened, second half happened, or what? Oh, that was great.
I thought your answer was fine, and then we just carried on speaking for another 5 minutes. I genuinely zoned out.
I'm just trying to be insightful. I'll get me.
I like that you're insightful, but I'm clock watching. You know what I'm like. So listen, a lot of people in the comments, Ash, agreeing with Masaba, agreeing with you about Masaba and Gassama. A lot of people. I tell you what, it was nice to see Hamer on the bench. I don't know why. I don't know where Pierce Charles is. Do any of you guys have any knowledge on that? Was it just because back of the international break, or just to give him, just a bench sit for a bit? You know what I mean? I don't know. And then we went into it. So Stevie, first half, not a classic.
Awful, absolutely awful. It was as poor a performance that I've seen under Danny Rule, and I'll say that. I thought as efficient and everything that I've said about the way that he's setting up and the way that we're playing on Tuesday night just gone. I thought we were absolutely terrible, and I love the bloke. You'll get no shade from me whatsoever, but the tone was set in the first 10 seconds when Barry Bannon decided he was going to try and turn on a sixpence and got stripped to the ball. And it was almost like straight from the kickoff, he's decided he's going to do his little Cruyff pirouette, got stripped, they've gone down the other end, got a corner, and that was that. And it almost felt for him like he was chasing to get back into the game for the entire first half.
I think he kind of said as much as his post-match comments, didn't he?
Possibly. I forgive me, I haven't seen that because I was travelling back, but I just didn't think he had a very good first half. I don't think he were great. We'll get onto the goal. I think that saved his bacon a little bit.
No, get onto it. Get onto Ibu Adams' goal. Sorry, Ash, go on.
No, I was just going to agree with Stevie then. I just thought that the first half was probably, I know we got spanked by Sunderland and there was individual mistakes, weren't it, for Sunderland? But I thought that as a team, first 45 was probably the worst this season for me. As a team,
I agree with you because we just couldn't get, and even the commentators said it actually. We couldn't string any phases of play together whatsoever. It just couldn't happen. Paul Valentin huffed and puffed down the right hand side and got absolutely nothing from the geezer he was up against. And then Lowe, who does the Ashley Cole type of fullback in, didn't really, because of the position he was playing, didn't really get to go forward enough. I thought he did very well in what he was doing, but it kind of took us we lost a bit of a threat there. Johnson tried his best, but we couldn't seem to get in. We didn't string together any phase of play. And because Bannon was struggling right from kickoff, and I want to talk about with Simon about your halftime chat, I think you're right. I think he was trying too hard to try and get it back a bit.
I was just going to say nothing clicked whatsoever. No. Like you said, over effort, over tried, and it became desperate. And there was we were getting the ball, and because we're used to playing that style now under rule. Even when we don't have lots of possession, it's intricate, short triangle passes, trying to get the ball out. But we were knocking the ball out of play. We were misplacing passes. There were times, forgive me, I can't remember if it was first half or second half, but there were times where we were just finding white shirts with the ball, and it just felt very desperate. And the goal exacerbated it because they scored so early, And I just think that we were then chasing the game. It almost felt like we were going into the game off the back of the Hull game, thinking, right, we've had the messages. We get another 3 points here. We start climbing the table, and this is where we're going to be. But I've no recollection of any sort of positivity in terms of the first half, in terms of what I saw. I thought you've mentioned a few players. I thought Smith toiled. He does, and he was up top on his own. And I'm not his biggest fan, but I saw yesterday a player who will run his nuts off to, he's earned, if there's a player in that squad that's earned his right to remain part of the squad this year. We talk about Marvin Johnson in the past. For me personally, Smith has played his way into rules reckoning. I will absolutely guarantee you in June, July time, Smith wasn't part of rules thinking. I don't think.
No, absolutely not. But I thought we stitched him up yesterday by sticking him in the middle of Masaba and Gassama as well, because they're not giving the ball up. They're not giving the ball up enough, and I don't think it's an accident that Chalobah came on for Masaba, didn't he? And Jamal Lowe came on for Jedi, because they just absolutely rubbish. Anyway, but I'm getting ahead of myself, Simon. So what I did, I was putting the graphics together because you lads were coming back from Hyde Park. I was putting the graphics together for the man of the match. And I just said Bannon by the end of it, and apparently I was not privy to a conversation that you chaps were having about Bannon at half time.
Well, I think Steve was walking, like we say, we were top, middle, and bottom. So I was the bottom half. Ash and his mate Steve were middle, and Stevie was above them. And I saw Stevie having a chat, and I think Ash's friend Steve was having a conversation with the man in front, which seemed to allude to, don't say anything against Barry Bannon because he's the Scottish god of football. But he had a dreadful first half, an absolutely abject first half. And I popped up and had a chat with them, and we were saying that he can't be. The criticism has got to be open to every player, just because Bannon has got that history and that legend status at Sheffield Wednesday. And he was one of the 10 players who just didn't turn up, in my opinion. Poor old Smudger had to keep dropping back. You were talking about Jedi and Masaba and Smith in the middle. Smith had to keep coming back to help defend because those lads were just AWOL on the wings, and Mendes Lang was running the show in midfield for them. I was really surprised when they took Mendes Lang off, to be honest. And he had.
It's fascinating, isn't it, that people see different things at football? Because I thought Mendes Lang was trash, without being too graphic. I honestly thought he was bloody awful.
Beadle had to make a pretty decent save from him at one point.
He did, but I felt like he was one of them that really wanted to score against us and completely forgot what his discipline.
I was surprised when he took him off. I thought he was one of their danger players. He was always in the middle of them creating something. And no, like you say, he saved himself. I mean, this last behind me said, was he out last night for his birthday? You know, back in relating to Bannon, because he looked like he had as many as I had just before the game.
Yeah. So into the end of the first half, we went in 1-0 down. I didn't feel very. What's the word? I wasn't abject. I felt like the game just kind of petered. And, you know, somebody mentioned Millwall there in the comments that it kind of had that written all over it. And had they capitalised in that first half, that could have been 2 or 3 at half time. Not there a load of chances, just in terms of how much football they had. Ash, let's go to a couple of comments, brother. Let's see what the internet's chatting.
Richard Evans has said, "Welcome to mid-table football. Derby are not shit at home."
That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know what their form's like.
There was. I think they draw a lot.
Yeah.
As far as we know, the last 18 years, they just draw or win at home.
David Hall said, Bannon was awful first half, and I wouldn't have been disappointed if he was taken off at half time. But he made up for his stinker with a stunner at a great time to score, which is a fair point. And I didn't see the post-match comments from Bannon, but I am sure himself would have said he had a shit first half because he's probably that type of player, isn't he? And yeah, like Stevie said, getting robbed of the ball within 10 seconds is going to knock your duck off first inning. But Rob Shirley agrees with Stevie. Bannon was really poor, but think that shows how integral he is. We were like an orchestra without its conductor. Moving Charles to centre back for the second half was a masterstroke. He looked like he was playing in an armchair. Immense.
Now, I was listening to our show a couple of weeks back, and there's one, Ash, where someone starts a comment with, and I've listened back to it, and it's so funny. Someone starts a comment with, "I agree with Stevie," and you're reading it out loud, and you went, "I agree with Stevie." Oh, why do people do that? You just said it out loud, and it's like, it genuinely absolutely slaughters me. I really want to get it into the comments at some point. Stevie, let's get to the rip snorter. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it, because I leapt out of my chair and I kicked Iron Brew all over the living room.
Speechless, to be honest with you. It became that kind of game where we needed a moment of brilliance, some sort of mercurial, genius. And for all the negative stuff that we've said about the bloke in terms of his performance in the first half, and I don't think he was great beyond the goal. And this is, again, coming from a place of love when it comes to Barry Bannon, and I'm never going to say it again. He just wasn't at his level yesterday. But the moment that it came, there was just a feeling. And where we are, on that row, we are directly behind Bannon as he's sort of shaped to put it in. And the keeper's obviously made that sort of, he's knocked it out, hasn't he? And the ball's just dropped. And the moment he set himself, you could see it. It was almost like the MK Dons goal a couple of years ago, where it's left his foot and it's curled. And you knew before it had even dipped that he was going in the top corner. And, we carry players at times. I'm a big one for Windass. Windass doesn't always turn up, but he's a big game player and he's a clutch player and he's a big moment guy. I say this week in, week out. Barry Bannon yesterday proved his worth, his quality, his importance to us as a football team, because it wasn't just him. We're using him almost as a scapegoat in terms of that performance in the first half and for the hour or so before he scored the goal. We were shit yesterday. we were terrible yesterday until we scored the goal. Nothing clicked. And then the moment that he did that, it felt like we'd stepped up and things started to click. And beyond that, I never had a feeling necessarily that we were going to go on and concede. I didn't, they had their chances, and forgive me, I can't remember if they'd not won over, and they'd had a couple where Beadle
pulled out a worldly save.
I was going to say before Bannon scored, I was going to comment, but we went on to Bannon's goal. Beadle's kept us in the game again. Great save. If they'd have gone 2-0 up from Jerry Yates, I think his name is, and also they did hit the bar at the post as well. So there was quite a lot going on before we scored the equaliser, and I think Beadle was outstanding again. I thought it was a great save.
And if ever we criticise keepers, and we've criticised Beadle in the past, and Stockdale was one for making saves and knocking it into the path of other players. That's exactly what the Derby keeper did. He basically parried it away straight to Bannon, and while he was trying to get up, he was way off his line. Bannon just looked up once, took one touch, and you just could. You see it more from the replays. As you can see, he looks up, sees the keeper trying to get back on his feet and get back to his line, and he immediately goes, "I'm putting it in the top left-hand corner," and there's nobody's going to.
As soon as he took that touch, there was only this tiny little square in the goal that it could have got to, especially that there was a player on the line. And as soon as he took that touch, I thought he's found that, and I did. I kicked everything over as soon as that went in. And I've just found the comments here on BBC Sport. This is Barry Bannon talking. He said, "We found it hard to turn the game in the first half. And I had a word with myself at half time because I knew he had to do something special. I'm just glad I got the goal to get us back in the game. To get 3 points is amazing." And then I think Chef Cam put a comment in there talking about Barry Bannon having a word with himself in the mirror, which I quite enjoy as a visual. And you better get the fucking ball in the net. Like, you know what I mean? I can. All accents are available on Fudge Facts.
Jim White was there.
Yeah, it's the same accent for everybody. It's the same one. It's the same one. Right then, where are we? So Baz has scored. It's 1-1. It's go on, Ash.
I was going to say it was a totally different game.
It was. I was going to say, I was going to bring Chalobah in for you.
Ooh, go on then.
I mean, I thought he was bloody brilliant.
Yes, I mean, Stevie put a tweet out that's got quite a lot of likes, and I said I'm feeling a bit discombobulated, is it? Whatever the word is, that I'm agreeing with Stevie too many times. But yeah, I think that his first 2 touches were rust. I think you can forgive that. Last time we saw him was at Grimsby, and I think he went off at half time at Grimsby in the cup. I thought it was pretty excellent, to be honest. To say he's been out that long and probably still not match fit, as in getting the minutes under his belt, then I think he did excellent, and a good game for him to come into as well, because it weren't like he was cruising. It weren't like we were 3-0 up or 3-0 down. It was all to play for as well. So it was good for him to get in. And I thought he was great. I think I said earlier about Danny Rowe and criticising his subs. No complaints on any of them at all. Honestly, I mean, there wasn't a great deal because you've got 5 subs now. There weren't a great deal the difference he could have done, but obviously.
Let me just have a look. So he took Iorfa off for Windass to add as a bit of dimension going forward, and then he put Liam Palmer on for Valentin, which I thought was interesting because normally it's nice that we brought Palmer on to be in a position where he can do something rather than just chuck him on while we're already chasing it and it's a right waste of time. I thought Jamal Lowe was a handful. I don't think they like playing against him. And, because Jedi and Masaba were bloody awful. And then bringing on Chalobah and Jamal, I thought worked really well. But I've got to talk about Callum Patterson, Simon. I've got to talk about the Pat Master General, Pato. That was his type of game, wasn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. We just needed some. You spoke about shithousery. We just needed some work ethic, didn't we? This is the trouble we didn't have with Masaba and Gassama. Is that work ethic? Is that lad will, makes up for his lack of football in skills, but will run through brick walls for you. And
I think Danny,
never
when it
gives
comes
up.
to Michael Smith and Callum Patterson, I think he's a convert, because I think in the summer, like Stevie said earlier on, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
These two can get in the bin. These aren't footballers. And then every now and again, every about 1 in about 8 games, they pop up with something where you go, how you don't even look or sound or run like footballers. How have you pulled that off?
The Derby sort of dominators in the first half by being very physical. And as we know, again, with the two wingers, they're not physical players. So they were just constantly running into them, falling over or being dispossessed, amongst other players who were guilty of it as well. And what we needed was somebody who is willing to give it and take it and actually still win the ball. And Callum Patton's made for that sort of game, isn't he? He's not. He's made for that sort of game. And you know, the winning goal was all about not giving up. He just didn't give up. And there was it was a bit fortunate in some areas in regards to how the ball fell to him. But, you know, the header, winning the header, Derby fans moaning it was a foul on their player. No, it wasn't. You know,
if I was moaning about that second goal, it's more that it was offside rather than the header.
You know, and that is a Pato way of winning the ball. It's what he does. It's you know, it's like the equaliser against Peterborough. It's it with his right foot. It rebounds back to him. It's it with his left foot. Goes
he has another pop. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't give up. Never gives up. Don't fall over. Don't go for penalty. Just gets on with it.
I think you were doing a little bit of disservice to Pato there. I thought he made that goal. He ran after I think, and it was a great bit of skill to get it in.
It was a great ball in.
I think he did really well. And I know Smith, like Dan, you said in the first half, I think Smith's that kind of player. Well, he does run the channels. He jumps. He tries challenges. He does track. He does press the ball. It just didn't work for him. And then that's what you want to do. You want to bring someone who's of the same sort of ilk, who's fresher legs. And Pato did that. And I think the him and Jamal Lowe, I'm quite impressed with him for not having as many minutes as other players. I think they did well. And I think he did well for his goal. And I know it's not just a tapping, but to get in the space and get there before the defender. So
absolutely, and again, props to Shalabar as well, because we didn't see a lot of him at Grimsby, and what we did see weren't great. And for him to come in and slot into what was a high pressure game and a high pressure moment, I thought was very good. I thought we used, for the first time this season, I can look back at the substitutes we made and gone, no feedback. 10 out of 10, no notes, would bang. You know what I mean? Would you just put up Jay Bloggs' comment, Ash, for me, please? He says, Derby ran out of huff and puff and didn't have a depth of squad. Thought threw Prato in there to mix it up, and the balance of low absolutely went an absolute treat, and I have no feedback from it. Game went to 94 minutes. We ended up getting a 2-1 winner. Where did you lads end up?
It's safe standing, isn't it? Safe
standing, and it's safe standing.
Did you cuddle a stranger?
It's brilliant. Safe standing is brilliant, and we need it at Hillsborough. Somewhere in Hillsborough, we need it because it was.
I think we'd be low down on that list, to be fair. But go on.
Interesting comment there, Simon.
Yeah,
maybe got that.
I've looked at being an engineer. I looked at how it was done, and it's a piece of piss. We could do it at Hillsborough in some of the areas.
Let's not fart around the poo. It's a bar on the back of the seats. I mean, it's not exactly a miracle or engineering here, you know what I mean? But let's talk about the celebrations. Let's talk about the limbs, because I tell you what, it's absolutely beautiful. Ash, did you cuddle a stranger?
I didn't cuddle a stranger, no. It was, as I said, I made the comment at Portsmouth, and I said there's not many better places as a football fan than in an away end when you get a last minute winner, or you get any sort of winner away when you really was hoping to shit out a draw, which I thought we were going to in the end, even though we had the pressure after Bannon's goal. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Again, and Stevie mentioned that Wednesday fans, they are one of the best group of fans, and they come up with some great songs. And
We had a couple of new ones yesterday, didn't we?
Spontaneity of everything, and the what's the
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Right.
Yeah, Wednesday win away, and it started like
it
the
is.
jumping and the bouncing, not bouncing to that other shit song, but to the Jingle Bells one, and you could feel the stand moving, and
that
that
was
you know you're doing something right there.
And
I'm a big fan of that.
The Dishon song changed to
3 points away.
away.
Yeah.
And that carried on and carried on.
I tell
And as
you
we
what,
left, it carried on.
As much as it gets a lot of negative feedback from the boomers, the hand gestures and the song, it gets in your head, doesn't it? 3 points away, and that's it. You're there for a day and a half. It's happening. It's happening.
It was fantastic.
It was. It is the best feeling.
Can I give one?
Wrap it up, Stevie. Wrap it up.
One honourable mention to we got in the car, and as we do on the group chat, we will generally speaking put in our players for man of the match, player of the match. It would be remiss of us, me, on our behalf, not to mention Shay Charles. I thought Shay Charles was an absolute Rolls Royce yesterday. I think he's been excellent, outstanding. He's gone in there second half, and when things weren't going our way, chucking his body on the line, blocking shots, slotted into centre half for the first time. And I knew that he could do it. I'd heard tale of him being able to play at centre half. For me yesterday, he was an absolute Rolls Royce, and the nature of the game won't lend itself to remembering him playing like he did as a classic. I know that Beadle's got our man of the match and got it comfortably. I've got no arguments. Beadle, Bannon for the goal, whoever it may be. But I just think anybody who, dare I say, anybody who knows the game and had a look at Shay Charles playing for 90 minutes yesterday, he was absolutely different gear. The best player on the pitch by an absolute mile.
Without doubt.
I don't know about 90 minutes. I don't know about the first half because all the team weren't, but I'd say comfortably that second half, especially when he dropped into the centre back.
Had it not been for an absolute mega save, he'd have won man a match. By the way, looking at the figures, so there's a few people out there that know ball. That no ball. Just chuck Rob's comment up there for me, Ash. There, I have a Derby supporting mate. He said we're the loudest supported that at Pride Park in years. Yeah. In fact, what was that one? Do you remember the opening day of the season when we took 5,000 there? Do you remember that? That was
Reedy Johnson got the equaliser, was it?
I think it was 2-2 or something, wasn't it? Listen, Ash, for any other business, is going to tell us all about the draw.
Oh, well, Dan, we've got two any other businesses about draws as well, but the first one, in it good. FA Cup, the magic of the cup. You sat there on edge of your bed. You're watching the telly. You're looking at the balls on the telly. And Dion Dublin's there. And Mark Hughes are there. And they're going there. You're going to go, who's in? We've got Tamworth. That'd be a good trip, wouldn't it? Why don't we play somebody we haven't played for a while? Yeah, you're looking at that, aren't you? You're going to fancy an away trip. London, somewhere I haven't been in league, non-league. Even a Premier League team. Let's go to Everton for last season, Spurs. Let's go and win at Spurs again like we did a couple of weeks ago.
I've been there, done that.
And then Coventry City, you go, bloody hell. You don't want to go to Frank Lampard's Coventry. Number 35, Sheffield Wednesday. Get in there. Thank you very much. 6 times in 14 months. Jesus H.
Is that what it is? 6 times in 14 months. I think the best way I've ever heard this summed up was in the last 30 seconds, and that's from Rich Evans in the comments, because that is an absolute beauty. Put it on the screen then, you bell. There we are. Rich Evans has gone with Coventry away. It's like getting your wife in a car key party.
What's a car key party, Richard?
Oh, come on now, Simon. It's what happens in your garage when you've gone to work. So listen, I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Ash, you said there was any other business?
There is one thing. There is one thing. Right. So this is something that we're really, really looking forward to doing. We know it's
huge. Huge.
It is huge.
Biggest thing we've ever done.
Have you got a child between 5 and 12, Dan? You've probably got hundreds around anywhere. Would they?
He doesn't know.
Yeah, he wouldn't know. Would they like to have the chance to be a mascot at Sheffield Wednesday? That's right. We are raffling off the chance for your son or your daughter to be a mascot for the Christmas game, should we call it? So Sheffield Wednesday home against Stoke City. It's we're going to raffle that off for obviously funds for our charitable thing, which we've got other things coming up as well. So yeah, if this will be launched tomorrow sometime, so keep your eyes out. But yes, a mascot experience. We know it's not the cheapest thing, so hopefully at £2, if you've got the chance, maybe you'll be able to buy a couple of tickets and have a chance. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone who's bought tickets for all our shirts and things before. But yeah, it's a big one this for us. So please, if you can and you are able to, buy us a ticket and raise lots of funds. Cheers, guys.
That's amazing.
That is a hell of a prize. So just to get the T's and C's out the way, ladies and gentlemen, the child must be between 5 and 12 years old, so I'm afraid no stag do pranks. The kits are subject to availability. We will buy the kit for you, but it depends what they've got in the shop. You know what I mean? And obviously it must be available for the game on the 21st of December. We can't change the game. It is what it is. It's been done. It's happening. Hold tight. Hold on to your hats, boys. Simon, you said you had great. I've just realised how good a prize that is. We're talking a few hundred quid there, aren't we?
Oh, wow.
All right, Simon.
Look, there's just one quick thing because I didn't get it in at the start because my internet was playing buggeration. Yesterday was an amazing time. I haven't been to an away game for ages, apart from Hull, where we arrived late. And I met loads of people who said hello to me through the podcast and all the socials. And one guy asked me just to do a shout out, and I'm only doing a shout out because she goes into hospital to have a knee replacement this week, and her name's Karen Lazenby, and they voted for us. They were one of the people, well, two of the people, her husband and her, voted for us for the FCAs. So there's a hell of a lot of love going out there, and they listen every Monday night. So hello, Karen. Good luck with your operation for Christmas, because I know your husband says he's going to have to look after you all over Christmas. Great to hide him in the NHS. So good luck, Karen.
And from me, thank you for submitting those votes. I really appreciate it. And get well soon, everybody involved. Listen, thanks a lot for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have we got hello from the other side signed up? We'll probably have one. You know what we're like. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week, bringing you football analysis.
He came in. I think he scored a goal.
Bringing you banter.
Yeah.
Bringing you responsible life hacks.
Met you wonderful souls at 10 a.m. for some shots.
The Wednesday week. 1, 2, 3, 4 live. Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The Wednesday week 24-25 season. Join us.